How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. So here it goes. Why don't ants get sick? Because they have antibodies. Come on. I know that joke was corny. I'm hoping that it brightened up your day if you had a long, rough day and so forth. So today, we're going to be talking about Zomedica. We haven't spoke about Zomedica, I think, since February the 9th, so exactly 10 days ago, and I want to give you guys an update. One of the things that you notice when you come to this channel, we review the stocks that we actually talk about. I'm not going to throw 100, 200 different types of stocks at you, and I don't have any interest in them, or I'm just doing it to pump it up and to get views. It's not about that. What it's about is helping you guys so you can make some money, all right? So that means I also got to put out the disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. So when you do invest, just know that you're doing it at your own risk. So since the last time we spoke with Zomedica, some things have happened. They've had offerings, there's been changes in the price and so forth. So that's what we're going to be going through. So let's jump right into the technical analysis and go over some updates. All right, so let's get into the technical analysis for Zomedica, ticker symbol ZOM. Like I said, the last time we spoke about it, I think was back on February the 9th. So right now I got the 5-day 5 chart out right now. And I'm just going to be showing you guys what has been happening. And we're also going to be covering some updates afterwards, all right? So since the last time, let's start off on the date of February the 10th. So as we could see here, it ended up hitting a low of $2.31, right? And then from there, we had a big run up, which would happened all the way in the pre-market. Ended up hitting a pre-market high of $3 and then coming back down, hitting a low on the 11th of around $2.51. Again, this was the same day that the offering was also closed. So these are particular areas. When you see these particular areas, if you're building out your position, it's great to buy on the dips. That's where you're able to get discounts, right? But we could also see from the 9th moving all the way up, despite the offering being announced, we did hit a high of $3, right? So let's move forward. So now if we move on to the 12th, let me just kind of spread the chart out now. All right, so as you can see on the 12th here, we had a bit of a dip as well. And this is where the price was around $2.37. As you can see on that cursor right here, you can see that there is some support and we also have resistance in these particular areas as for the days that have come forward, right? I'm going to go further into that afterwards. But anyways, so when we see this particular type of an action, let's spread it out, we could see this is a support area right here, right? We've bounced off that support back on the 10th and so forth. Even if we pull the chart further back out, we had that, again, going on the 9th and the 8th and so forth. So this is how we know this is a very strong support area, all right? So now, as we move forward, hey, there were certain conditions that were going on inside the market. You guys already saw that, we had some consecutive red days. But ZOM, I must say, did a very, very good job throughout this entire week. Like, I got to say it hands down. It is definitely respecting the support areas. Because, again, if we look here on the 16th, it was around the 240s, the 230 area, holding that down very So now, if we go down, let's go down to the 17th. We already know there are a lot of stocks took a huge dip, and it got down to $2. If you were able to add to your position, or maybe you were starting a position, this was definitely a good area to start adding at. As you can see, when we look down on the RSI, it was literally at, wow. I'm a little bit shocked even when I looked at it. It's at 16. You guys know if it's 30 and below, yeah, it's oversold, right? Right? It is completely oversold. I look at it even as an overreaction. So these are good buying areas to actually look at. And as you can see on the same time on the 17th, it actually retested up here around 210. But again, it did a great job finding that support, and we ended up having a big move all the way from 210 all the way to about, let's call that 239. It hit resistance and then got knocked right back down. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch this over to the 1 day, 1 minute. Let's take a look at the 1 day, 1 minute. And now look, whenever I see a chart looking like this, many people might say, oh, barcodes. I love it. I love it because it shows you how strict of a range that ZOM is actually trading in. All right. So let me just kind of spread this out a little bit, show you guys from yesterday. Now, when we take a look at this, right, strict range. The one thing is when you see these particular areas, look, these are buy areas. 216. Look at the RSI. Wow, it's like literally, like yeah, it's literally at let's call that 24.25. See, so that's a buying area, right? But again, this was in pre-market. So now let's get rid of the pre-market, going into the full day of trading hours from yesterday. Great opportunities there. You could see 212 being touched, right? It had a high at 234. So if you guys are recognizing, it's staying in this particular range. Like it will have its dips, and if you have the opportunity, you want to add on those dips. But we see that these particular areas are support areas. We see a lot of consolidation that was going on here between the levels of 227 and 228. Went downwards. You know, you have some sell-offs towards the end. Going into pre-market, ended up gapping down on the day for today. And that's fine, because look how it recovered. So it gapped down. Let me just move my cursor over there. So yeah, so it ended up gapping down to the area of 214. And then you could see up here in pre, got up to 228. And it literally had a resistance area at 228 throughout the entire pre-market. Now check out what happens now. Let's look at the 1 day, 1 minute. Come out here at open, and we end up hitting a high of 237. So you're seeing the 230s, the 210. Like this is a strict range for ZOM. And I'm loving it because we're seeing there's strong support in these areas. Like every time when you see this particular area of 237, like we spoke about in our previous videos, these are resistance areas. So as you can see, it never really hit above 237 for the rest of the day. And if it did, it would definitely make that move to 240. But as you can see, look at all this consolidation, the strict areas that it's in. Even down here, if you're able to catch a dip near the ending of the day, this was a good price at 225. Let's be honest here. Like I said, the offering was at $1.90. So like 225, that's solid. Like look at this. And now this was at 8 o'clock after hours finishing up, back to 233. So it's definitely been staying in a consistent range. And we notice this too when we look at the RSI. Because look at the RSI, it's at like 59. Yeah, it's not at 50 showing us, that's a mid price. That's a fair price. We know if it's close to 70, it's overbought. But at the same time, when it comes down to that, the 220 area, the 220 levels, as you guys can see here, and we look down here, it's still close. It's at 43. So you're still getting some good value. So these are the particular ranges you should be looking at if you're still interested in buying shares of ZOM and so forth, right? That's something you just definitely can't ignore because, like I said, I'm going to go back and spread this chart out. Go back to the 5 day, 5 minute. And just look at this. We could see like even here, we have some support at 218, right? We have another support area here at 211. Part of the reasons why whenever we hit these 210s or these low areas, it bounces right back up, right? So you got to catch that very quickly. I feel like you got to have like a limit order to catch those type of prices and so forth. We don't really have a ton here at 2, right? So what would happen here if we ever broke 2? But again, the chances of this happening, some catastrophic news would have to come out. Then we'd have a next move down here to around 188, $1.88. But for the most part, ZOM is definitely trading in a very good range. You can't go wrong in any of these particular areas. especially if you're trying to play the run-up before the main catalyst comes. So that's more so buying the rumor and selling the news. This is good for the short term and the swing traders here. So as far as for a gap up, if we get a gap up on Monday, hey, I'd love to see a gap up to around 240. That would be great, right? And then just kind of moving the day around that 240 range would be good on Monday and so forth. And maybe reclaiming the 250. That would look really good. If we end up getting a gap down, then honestly, I don't really see it going below. As you can see, look at this. It's literally bouncing off at 2. It bounced right off at 210. Like, again, like there's strong support in these areas. But again, if there's a gap down, I'll bring it to 220. You might be able to get into the 210. So let's talk about some of the news and so forth that is happening. So on February 11th, that's when the offering was closed, right? So ZOM was saying that's creating a point-of-care diagnostic products for dogs and cats today announced that the closing of its previously announced public offering at 91.3 million common shares of Zomedica at a price of $1.90, less underwriting discounts and commissions. As previously announced, Zomedica has also granted the underwriter a 30-day option to purchase up to 13.69 million additional common shares at the public offering price, less underwriting discounts and commissions, right? And then it talks about the gross proceeds going into, you know what, their continued development of their program, their platforms, business, and so forth, right? So that's what we knew about, and that's where we kind of left off at, right? So this is when they were saying, hey, we've closed that. Made the video on February 9th, releasing this information. February 11th is when it was closed. Now, most recently, as we can see here, the full exercise of the over-allotment option by the underwriter. So if you remember what I just read that came out on the 11th, it has relations to this. And here's where we got to see it. A veterinary health company, so they're talking about ZOM, point-of-care diagnostic product for dogs and cats today announced. I'm pretty sure they're copy and paste the first sentence. And they're like, okay, we're going to change the rest. But anyway, let's continue. Today announced that the underwriter of its previously announced public offering has exercised in full its over-allotment option to purchase an additional 13.69 million. So look at that. Remember, they mentioned the same thing on the previous one, right? So just be aware of that. And that's what was happening. After giving effect to the full exercise of the over-allotment option, the gross proceeds are approximately $200 million before deducting underwriting discounts and commissions and other offering expenses payable by Zomedica. H.C. Wainwright acted as a sole book running manager for the offering. So Zomedica intends to use the net proceeds, and we're going through this again, continue development of their diagnostics, milestone payments, and any under existing license collaborations agreement, strategic acquisitions, and so forth. You guys already know what it's all about. So this is one of the things where, hey, now that this is all out of the way for ZOM, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a run-up going on in March. All right? I'm definitely looking for it. I want to see it retouch that $3 range, which I'm very, very bullish that it will. And if we can get past that $3 range, I could definitely see ZOM getting into the 330, going into the 350s and so forth. So again, I'll be watching it. Like I said, I still have a position in it at an average cost of $1.15. So hey, I ain't losing no sleep, and I'm really excited to see what happens with ZOM. All right. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I know it's been a while since we covered it, but I just wanted to give you guys the update, all right? So there it is. Those are my thoughts. That's my analysis on ZOM. Like I said, I'm still holding a position, and I'm still bullish that there's going to be a run-up leading to that end of March catalyst in regards to the true forma actually being fully released. If you are looking at ZOM or you're considering about building a position, like I said in the technical analysis portion, you have your areas, you have your price targets. Choose which one works the best for you. Like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice. So when you do invest, just know that you're doing it at your own risk. This is a penny stock, so you got to be able to handle the volatility. They've done a public offering not too long ago. Again, they've raised up a good amount of capital, and we need to see, hey, what they end up doing with it, especially if you're looking at ZOM as a long-term investor as well. I'll be talking to you guys soon, and stay tuned because I'm going to be dropping several videos for you guys over the weekend. Peace out.